I know a lot of these people involved.
Yeah. All right, the date is March 5th, 2024. The time is 2:19 p.m. We are at the Kissimmee Police Department. Reference to case number 24001896. Person present are myself, Detective Morris, Detective Smallwood. And your first name?
Stephan with a V.
And last name?
Young, Young.
Phone number?
December 2nd, 1988.
All right, before we get started, can you just raise your right hand for me? Do you swear and affirm that the statement you're about to give is the truth, nothing but the truth, to the best of your knowledge, so help you God?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. I have a feeling you know why you're here, why you came to Florida and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. There's an investigation into a young lady named Madeline, her death. Okay. Throughout the investigation, we spoke with Jennifer, Madeline's mom, and she said that you and her were married at some point. Mm-hmm. Do you remember when that was?
We were married on March 14th, 2015. I can remember that because it's Pi Day, 3.1415. We divorced, I think, in 2016, maybe 2017. It'd be in Kissimmee records, though. It was done here in Osceola County.
Okay. Where did you meet her?
Online, OkCupid.
OkCupid is like a dating site or something like that? Okay.
Website. Yeah, it's like pink and blue and before Tinder and all these apps came out and stuff. Yeah, I met her on OkCupid. Can I take out my phone? I took some notes on dates that I could remember.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I figured you guys would be asking about how long I've known them and stuff and whatnot. I think I met her around summer of 2013. Yeah, we were married March 14th, 2015. And I think we divorced somewhere at the end of 2016, beginning of 2017, so around there. But again, I know it should all be in Osceola records.
That's fine. And when you guys were married, did you live here or did you?
We lived in the apartment where everything happened.
Okay, so in Venetian Bay.
Yeah, it was her, Maddie, my daughter, and me.
Okay. Did anybody else live there at the time?
Juan.
Her
dad.
Okay.
I think he still owns that unit, and he lived there in the bottom floor unit. Maddie had a room, my daughter had a room, and me and Jen had a room upstairs.
What was your and Jennifer's relationship like?
It was pretty good for the first couple of years we were together. She started having some mental health issues, which...
Like what?
She would just get really depressed, and she would just kind of shut down some days, and so I'd just be on full parent duty, just take care of both kids and do the pickups and everything and do the dinner. And I was in school, I was working full time, and it was exhausting, and it just got to the point where her mental health was just stacking up, and I couldn't be there as much, and I needed to take my daughter out of that environment. And we still co-parented. Like, Maddie to me is my other daughter. I was in her life for 11 years. Like, me and my daughter, like, that was my daughter's sister. That's the only close thing she's ever had to a sister. We still have birthday gifts. We talked to her, like, my daughter and her best friend played games with Maddie every month for years online together. And, like, I talked to Maddie all the time. I'd pop over and talk to her and ask how things were, and I thought she was in good hands. And I know that me and Jen didn't work out, but to me, she was still a friend. And I still loved and cared about Maddie. And so I tried to be a friend to Stephan, too, when he came in the picture. Like, if he's in Maddie's life, I want to get to know this person. So I tried to get to know him some, try to be a friend to him.
Where did you meet him?
I met him through Jen. I think she said that he had met him through a real estate company that his parents had at the time. I don't remember positions they had there.
Okay.
But she said she's involved with him, and I loved Maddie, so anybody that's involved in her life, I wanted to know. And so I tried to get to know him, be a friend to him. We started connecting on, like, tabletop games and stuff. Like, I was into D&D. I think he's introduced me, like, Star Wars Legion and this Robomech game. So, like, I tried to play some of those with him and stuff. We went and shot guns before. I looked it up. I think we went to Tannerack. It's on the way between here and Tampa. That's a public shooting range down there. But he was just so commercialistic. And
what do you mean?
He just always wanted to buy the next thing. And like when I would invest in a game, like as I was playing the game for a while, like I've been playing the same D&D game with my sister for 2 years. It's the same campaign. Like I like playing the same thing and not reinvesting in new stuff. And he was always the next thing. And we got in a little like argument one day. I went to visit them down in Northport, and I essentially called him a sellout for always buying new shit, and kind of had a little tantrum, and then we just kind of stopped talking after that.
When do you think that was?
It was before COVID, because I think that, if I remember correctly, she moved back up from Northport during COVID. So I think it had to have been right before then when they were down there.
Did they live in a house or?
They were in an apartment. We visited them once.
Okay.
But there was an apartment down there that they had in Northport.
Okay.
But yeah, me, my wife, and my daughter all visited them because we're always trying to keep the girls together because they're each other's siblings, you know? Like, they didn't have any biological siblings of their own. And so whenever we could, we tried to keep them together. And I've tried to talk to my daughter to see if she can remember anything.
Just so I'm clear, that Jennifer is not the mother of your daughter.
No, she's not the biological mother of my daughter. That's a whole nother story. I'm not sure exactly where she's at.
Right.
She's been on the run and not paid child support for years. That's a whole nother thing. But no, I have Jen, who's been like a mother to Ash, my daughter, for 11 years now. And then I have my wife, who's incredible. We call ourselves a nice blended family. We've all tried to help each other out.
That's the young lady downstairs?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we all try to help each other out. We're all friends. I mean, now it's, really hard to look at wedding photos and stuff and seeing some of these people in it. And, but, sorry, I'm a little venti right now. It's been frustrating, this whole thing, and trying to wrap my head around what happened.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So...
Sorry, you can ask me whatever.
That's okay. That's okay. Take your time. I know this is a tough time for you guys right now. So when you would hang out with Stephen around here... Stephan, sorry.
No,
Stephen, Stephan. Then we have a Stephan that works here.
Yeah. I just need to hear the name difference for myself.
Yeah. So when you and Stephan used to hang out around here, where were you living at that time?
So we've lived in Williamsburg.
Williamsburg up John Young Parkway?
Yeah, right behind like SeaWorld area over there. I lived in Anderson, I think, when I first met him. That's up in South downtown, Anderson Street.
Okay.
That's when I first met him. He never went over there, but I would come down and visit Jen and bring Ash over there. And unfortunately, I let her sleep over there with Maddie and stuff in the same fucking house. But, like, she would go down there and visit them. And so I think it's when I first started meeting him. I lived in South Orlando. And then... When
was that? Do you remember? Roughly what year?
That was me and Jen got married in 2015. So that would have been January of 2016 that I think is when I moved into downtown Orlando. And I was there for about just over a year. Yeah. And then moved in with my wife's cousin for a few months, and then we moved to Williamsburg. And then we got a house over here in Kissimmee, Southwind. It's off 192, near Medieval Times.
Okay. Yep.
Those houses back there that are almost an acre-ish. Yeah. And that's where we lived. I think police came and talked to me the other day when they're still trying to locate her body. And I think I gave them the wrong dates. I moved in 2020 to Colorado. I moved into that house in 2020, and I moved into Colorado in 2022.
Okay.
But I was really frazzled. The thing on the news just come up with the update, and they had just shown up like the minute that started. And so I'm like trying to watch, they're trying to talk to me, and I got frazzled. So I think I did give incorrect dates on that the other day. But no I moved to that house in 2020, and then to Colorado in 2022. So correction on.
That's right. So when you lived at all these places, when was Stephan with Jennifer at that point?
He was, as far as I know, they've been pretty much on for most part of the past 7 years, but a little on and off the past few.
Okay.
As far as I understood,
have you known him to have any kind of mental illnesses or anything like that? You know?
Jen always said that he had depression and anxiety, And sometimes he'd be like short to temper, but she never mentioned that he got violent, because I would ask her, like, does he get violent when he gets angry? Like, that's a whole other thing. Like, someone can get frustrated, work through it, and versus someone getting violent. And she never said he got violent. You know, I always asked Maddie, like, the first few years they were together, I'm like, hey, how is Stephan? Like, is he treating you nice? You know?
How old was she when they got together?
See here, when me and Jen split up, she was 4. So she probably would have been like in early elementary school, like 5 or 6, right around there. I would, yeah.
And you would have
7,
these
8,
conversations when she was in
about
kindergarten, 1, 2,
yeah,
1st, 2nd grade?
Yeah, so she would have been about 6 then when he came into her life, I think. That sounds about right. So yeah, it would have been around like 1st grade and stuff, because I remember I was talking to her, like, oh, you're starting school again, like, and then I'd have Ash talk to her about what it's like to start elementary school and help get wrapped up in that. And it's like, oh, well, how's school, how's home, you know, how's mom, she doing okay, you know, because I know a lot of times, like, her grandma would take care of her some days and whatnot. So just trying to check on Jen kind of through the daughter, you know, just see how her perspective on life is and and whatnot. But
when you guys lived together, how was, like, the dynamic? I know you said you guys shared a room, and then Maddie had a room, and Ashlyn had a room. Is that right?
And sometimes Ash and Maddie would share a room together. I think they had a bunk bed for a little while and shared a room, and then one became their playroom. But it went back and forth. They had separate rooms.
At any point, did you guys, like, share? I know when kids are young, they sleep with their parents and stuff like that. Did that ever happen with?
When I first met Jen, Maddie slept in the bed with Jen.
Okay.
I wasn't comfortable with that at her age, unless it was like a nightmare or something like that. Then, yeah, of course, my daughter can come and join me in bed if she has a nightmare. But I felt like there's a point that, like, you need to start letting them sleep on their own and self-soothe at night. So I would always encourage the self-soothe, go to bed on your own. And then after we had divorced, or after we had split up, and we're on our own, I had found out she was back to her own bed, or back to sharing a bed with Maddie again. And I know that, like, that's the way that her mom always did it. I know her mom, like, Maddie was always sharing a bed with her when she was little and stuff, up until, I know, at least, you know, beginning of elementary school. I don't know if it ever stopped or when, but it was grandma. She'd just go and cuddle with her at night, you know. She would do it with Jen all the time. You know, I didn't do that unless it was like a nightmare or something. I remember one time Jen was just checked out at night and tired, and she was just like, here's the kids, and they both laid in bed with me. But
was that common for her to do?
No. I can count on one hand how many times she was like, I like, they're crying and I need some space tonight, and she'd go to the living room, watch TV, and just be by herself and just be, all right, cool, the kids are with me, and we'll be in bed and just hang out.
So it sounds like you and Jen have communicated frequently since you guys split up because of Maddie.
Pretty often, yeah. I always try and check up on Maddie all the time. Our friendship kind of fizzled out a little bit. We kind of talked a little less here and there as my relationship with my current wife grew. Right. And not because of my wife. Like, they're actually great friends. It was actually my mother-in-law, that thought it was weird and started getting mad and stuff. So we started scaling back our friendship for the optics of her family. But
gotcha.
But I would still always check up on Maddie. I talked to her all the time. Whenever Ash was on the phone with her, like, I'd pop over the FaceTime and check on her, you know, like, hey, how's it going, you know, and how's school?
How was Jen, when you would talk to Jen on FaceTime or Maddie or anything like that, what was, like, their demeanor? Was at any point since you left till up to here recently, any kind of demeanor changes between Jennifer or Maddie?
Maddie seemed off for a few years, honestly. And I thought it was just, she's going through changes. It's the teenage years coming. It's the puberty, you know. I remember my daughter going through the depressive stage, you know, right at the end of, you know, elementary school. But, you know, that was right at the start of COVID and stuff. So I wasn't sure, like, how much is, like, an equal comparison for a mood change. And to me, like, it seemed normal to, like, my daughter was going through. She went through a massive depression through, you know, middle school, COVID, lots of things going on. So in my head, it was just like, okay, she's going through changes. Just keep talking to her. Keep getting the two of them to hang out as much as they can online. We'll get down their floor, see each other soon. Let's see if we can fly them up. You know, just trying to get more of the family aspect together. And I thought it was teenage years.
Gotcha. How long? You said that was going on for a few years, you think?
Yeah. She's kind of felt like different to talk to since like late elementary school. I don't know, just she seemed different.
Did Jen seem different at all?
Jen doesn't seem different. She's just seemed like she's just always trying to figure out what she needs to do with her psychologist to get by, and it feels like her like trying to figure that out with a psychologist is always like an experiment. And I feel like she's trying to figure out what to do to get herself here and to be functioning with her mental health issues, but with all the back and forth with doctors, at least in my opinion, it's just always a game of, okay, try this, and so sometimes she gets a little more checked out as they're trying different meds, and I don't feel like...
Did she ever talk to you about her doctors or any kind of different medication?
I know she's been on different medication over the years. I don't know exactly which ones. I know she's tried different things. She's complained about some that have like knocked her out and, you know, make her like super tired.
When did she tell you that?
That she has meds like that? Geez, I've known her for a long time. She's like gone through a lot of back and forth, you know, with meds. I know I can't pinpoint a specific time period on which one.
Your relationship with her?
No, the mental health stuff started to accumulate more during my relationship with her, and that's when I was trying to get her into more therapy and stuff. The understanding where she was with her mental health took some time with psychologists and therapists to figure out, okay, these are her conditions. This is how we can start figuring out certain meds that may work in some capacity, but that was after I had been there that meds started to get figured out by doctors. It was more therapy when I was still in the house, if that makes sense.
Did she ever talk about Jen now? Did she ever talk to you about more recently that any medication has changed or anything like that would like offset her? Or, you know, some people when they change their medication,
I know
everything just changes.
The only thing I know that she said about her medication recently is there's a nighttime one that just knocks her out. So she takes that one at night.
When did she tell you that?
Must be when I've been recently talking to her about this the past few weeks. Like this, or it's happened all week ago. So we saw online on Monday. Yeah.
So she never mentioned that prior to...
Well, I haven't talked about her meds in a while.
Okay.
This is just recently, because I was like, all right, so what's going on? Like, where's your head been? Like, like how much do you remember right now? Like, with your meds? And
what did she tell you happened? Right from, like, the day that Maddie went missing, when did you first hear about it?
My wife saw it online. I'm not on social media, but she saw it immediately. And so I start calling, and anybody I know in Florida, I just say, please send it. Anybody. And then I was like, all right, everybody outside of Florida, if you know somebody in Florida, send it. And I was just on blow up, just anybody I can contact to share the information online she was missing.
When the first time you talked to Jen, what did she say?
I talked to Jen. It was either that I think it was the next day. I think it was Tuesday. I was finally able to get a hold of her. And I was trying to talk to her. I was trying to figure what happened. And she had told me... Sorry, I'm trying to remember.
That's okay.
She had told me that Maddie was missing and that Stephan had taken her to the school, but he had made a bunch of stupid mistakes and he accidentally deleted his phone and what the other thing he said, and he forgot his phone, and Maddie forgot his phone, which didn't surprise me. My daughter forgets her phone all the time, but like him not having his phone, I felt was shocking because I remember him I always saw him with his phone. He was always on Reddit. He was always typing away at something. But Maddie, like, that didn't surprise me. Like a teenager forgetting their phone. And so, like, I called them idiots, you know? Like, wait, why the fuck would you do that? Like, not even look more guilty. Like, I thought he was innocent. Like, I thought it was somebody that was protecting Maddie. You know, I thought that they were both, you know, looking out for her. And now I don't know what to think anymore, you know? But...
Now, was this talking to Jen over the phone or text message? Or
I think this was a phone call I had with them. I think I called. I finally gotten a hold of her because I wanted to hear her voice, to hear what she sounded like when she said these things.
Now, when you were talking to her over the phone, like you said, you're hearing her voice saying these things.
Mm-hmm.
What she was saying, was that kind of like her normal tone or a different tone, or like, how would you describe it?
It sounded like anxious Jen. Like, it sounded like something's wrong, and she couldn't wrap her head around it. Like sometimes she has to take her meds, but you can still like tell in her tone sometimes like how she is, and like I could tell she was a little muted, probably from meds she had to take, but I could tell like her anxiety was at 100. If like even with some mutes, like once you know a person, you can kind of tell like some of their tells a little bit, like just like their pace and their talking is like, I don't know, you're still like amped up. And like I could tell she was like that. He was very quiet.
So you talked to him as well?
I was on speaker in the car.
Okay.
And he was there at the time, and so like I asked him, I asked him, but he really didn't say anything. She kept just like,
what did he say?
He was like, yeah, she was there, and I feel so guilty, and I can't believe that I left my phone. I was like, well, why the fuck would you do that? Like, it's stupid. Like, have your phone, like, wherever you go. Like, it's suspicious immediately. Like if you don't have your phone as an adult. Like, and he was like, yeah. And then I actually reset it. Like, what the fuck, dude? And that's really all he mentioned. And then Jen like reset the same thing and told me that he had dropped her off, and she thought that she had woken up at like 8:20 in the morning, and then Sailor was barking to go to the bathroom or needed to go to the bathroom, so she started to get up, but he said, no, I got it. And he was like, yeah, I was trying to let you rest. And then he went and took the dog out, and then came back and said that, oh, don't worry, I'm taking May to school, and then let her keep resting because she was like going through training at a new job, and she was just really tired, and that she had called him up to come help with taking her to school and helping to get the dog and Maddie's situated so she can balance the new job she just started. Sorry, I'm trying to remember all the pieces she told me and all that conversation, so it's coming out in random order. What else did she say?
But she told you that she was sleeping, and whatever time it was when she heard the dog barking, she was going to get up to take the dog out, but Stephan took the dog out himself.
Yeah, and Stephan took the dog out himself and told her, no, it's okay, you're tired, don't worry about it. And so she went back to sleep.
Okay. Did she ever mention going the day prior? Maddie had a birthday party.
Yeah.
With Grandma.
Yeah.
Okay. Did Jen tell you why she wasn't there?
I understand it from her that she was just so tired from everything from work, and I'll admit, going to her family functions could be a little bit overload. She has a lot of family.
Gotcha, okay.
They're very loving. They're very loving people. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love her family to death. Like, her mom, Yolanda, and her dad, Juan, helped me and my daughter, Ash, so much over the years, even after me and Jen split. So, like, love them to death. But sometimes they're overload. And with all her anxiety, sometimes she just can't handle them for a long period of time. So, she'll go and do stuff with Maddie, for her birthday. It's happened sometimes. She's gone and done her own thing on a Saturday, and her mom wants to do a big event on a Sunday, and it's just overload for her.
Got it. Okay.
Like, she'll still do stuff with Maddie. It's just sometimes she can't handle the full people, and that would be my guess. I haven't asked her specifically, like, the whole weekend sour, like, asking her about why she didn't go, Maybe I could have asked her. I should have asked her, but...
was Stephan at the party?
I doubt it.
Okay.
Yolanda did not like Stephan.
Yolanda is Jen's mom.
Jen's mom.
Okay.
She didn't
Any
like
idea why?
I want to know why now. I heard that like once over the years that she was a big fan of him, and I was like, oh, maybe it's just she didn't like a boyfriend, just you need time to warm up to him type of deal. And that was it. And now I'm hearing more and more she did not like him. She didn't trust him. And I want to know why. I want to ask her, like, what did you see that I missed? Because I don't want to miss this to another person. You know, somebody else around my daughter. I want to know what traits you see that I couldn't.
So Maddie makes it back to the house. I would say condo, townhome, whatever it may be.
Yeah, the unit.
At some point that evening, Sunday evening, Stephan comes home because Jen asked him to come here to help because she's tired because of the new job.
That's the way I understand it. Yeah.
Have you ever heard of what the dynamic was? There's sleeping arrangements between Jen, Maddie, or Stephan throughout the years?
I honestly have been trying to figure that out myself. I understood that Maddie slept with Jen, and they had one room for a while, so my guess is they all slept in the same bed for a little while. I don't know when, how long, or any of that. Like, that's always bothered me. Maddie sleeping not in her own bed, starting elementary school, like, that to me is just like something a kid needs to do to self-soothe and grow to be individual and not have to rely on another person always being there. So that's always bothered me. And I've tried asking Jen about that over years and trying to encourage her, and it's just an argument. It's just a case that it's like, I'm never going to win. So why am I to keep poking at something?
Did Jen ever mention to you that, you know, she would need to get some sleep, so Maddie would either sleep in her room or sleep in somebody else's room or anything like that?
That happened during our relationship, but it wasn't another room. It was just like, oh, can we put the kids at my mom's tonight so we can have a night off?
Gotcha. Okay.
Because she would just need, like, we just has time to breathe and need space away from the kids. Like, okay, let's see, you know, we can do that. And we try and put them out, but it was different when I was there. Like, nobody slept in the bed with us unless it was a nightmare. Like, that was my condition. And if she wanted space, then we would coordinate stuff with her family to go watch them.
I don't know what conversations you've had with Ashlyn since this has all happened. Has Ashlyn confided into?
I've asked her a lot of questions, not try to be too pointed, but hopefully to get some stuff. Asked her, like, did he ever try and spend alone time with you, or try and just, like, hang out with you and Maddie alone when Jen wasn't around? Did Maddie ever talk about him, you know, specifically? Did she ever say anything positive or negative? But was there any point in time she wanted to specifically talk about him, like, in any way? Did you ever see a mood change? And so talking about it, and she was like, yeah, like the past couple years, she's been like, they almost like stopped playing games because Maddie was just like destroying her stuff on Minecraft, and it was frustrating my daughter. And she was like, I'm done playing with her. And then I guess like a few months ago, she just started playing nice and started playing better. And so like I'm trying to think about this with the timeline. I'm trying to remember. I was like, is this when Jen kicked Stephan out of the house?
When was that?
I'm trying to remember when they separated. I'm trying to figure that date. Was that a few months ago? Is that when Maddie started lightening up and started feeling better and stopped being destructive to everybody around her? And did she start feeling like she could push back on this guy, you know, after being gone for a few months, and then this fucking happened? And
so that's all Ashlyn said really is
she doesn't remember anything.
In the last couple of months, she just noticed a little bit of a demeanor change.
Yeah. She was playing a little better online, and she was acting a little nicer.
How did Ashlyn and Maddie communicate?
They text every day.
Like text messages through the phone, Snapchat, IG?
No, my daughter doesn't have Instagram. She has Discord.
What's her name on Discord?
I'd have to look it up. Give me a second. If I have service in here. I'm sure you'll see it on Maddie's as well. She did try and message her after all this just to see if she was online and was able to pop up. So, well, one of the recent hays is from my daughter. I'll have to download it. Give me a second.
Do you know if anybody else communicated with Maddie through Discord, like Jen, Stephan, any of Jen's family or anything like that?
This other boy, Tyler, he's the same age as Ash. They were in second grade together and been friends ever since. I think they've met each other in person maybe a couple times at Ash's birthday parties.
Okay.
But they typically just play online. He lives up in Deltona. But yeah, they've been playing together online for like 3 years now. Minecraft and stuff together. Maddie, Ash, and Tyler.
Has Maddie ever tell you or Ashlyn or anybody that she had a boyfriend or anything like that?
No, and we've talked to Tristan, Tyler's mom, as well, just to see like if they think he knows or said. But he says like, I really rarely ever talked to her unless Ash was present. Like they weren't that close. Like Maddie and Tyler were that close of friends to really talk one-on-one. But like anything I've thought of to ask Ash.
Do you know Stephan uses Discord?
I'm sure he does. I don't know what it is, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did. I know he used Reddit. Wouldn't surprise me if he had multiple accounts and how often he was on it type deal.
Like, I know very limited stuff about Reddit. So I know Reddit is like forums that you can look at stuff or whatever. Any idea like what kind of forums he would be part of?
I only know now because his username's been put online, and I've looked through it. I didn't know beforehand.
What's his username?
Give me 1 second, I'll pull it up for you. Yeah, there's some. He's been on recently on Ask Teens over the past month. I saw. Sorry, I've had a lot of text messages recently.
That's okay.
That's his username on Reddit. At least his public one. I'm still trying to see if I can have friends find any alternates that he has. Because most consistent Reddit users have at least 2 or 3. At least in my experience. I'm sure you guys use way more than me, so you guys may know more about that. But
so if that's his username, you can see what forums he's part of.
you can see the ones he's posted in, just like all the places he's made comments and stuff. He has like 6.5 years of history, it looks like. The past month, like it's all like gaming stuff. You can see the progression over time. Like I saw a picture of him 6 years ago at my house playing tabletop games, like a picture of the board that we were playing on, like adult board games and guns, and then Nerf guns and Tamagotchis and just more childish stuff. You can see the way he talks starts to change online. There's more emojis. His gender starts to become more generic and stuff. It's like you can see like there's a warp in the way he acts online over these. It's weird, like seeing this change, and then now it's all. And then like the past month, you can see like Ask Teens.
Ask Teens, that porn Ask Teens?
No, it's just like teens can ask questions about life, and there was even one. Where is it? Sorry, I don't know if you guys already looked through this or not. Or I'm sure you guys have another team who probably does all the IT stuff, or I don't know. Yeah, there was one that was a girl was asking about being pregnant and what to do, and he responded on it, and it freaked me the fuck out. Like this, I'm pregnant and I don't know what to do, and him responding.
Sorry, I gotta zoom in.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
I'll let you read that, Mark.
Yeah.
I want to go back a little bit.
Yeah.
When you were with Jen,
Mm-hmm.
I know you had said back then she wasn't on medication for her mental health, and that was kind of building up.
Yeah, not that I recall her being on meds.
Was Maddie on any medication back then?
No, not that I recall.
No.
I think the only person on meds was my daughter for ADD.
Okay. Do you know if Maddie has ever been on medication?
I don't.
You don't. Okay. Do you know if she's been diagnosed with anything?
I heard she was previously diagnosed with autism, but
Okay.
I thought I also heard she was retested, and they said she only had autistic traits, but is not autistic.
You know when that would have been?
Within the past few years. I think Jen told me when I talked to her earlier this month in February that's when she told me. I think that's when she told me that she wasn't showing, or she only had traits, and she was no longer diagnosed. It was ADD. Oh, I think she had ADD,
Okay.
and she had to take meds for that. Fuck. Sorry, there's so many kids.
Overload.
I have so many nieces and nephews and cousins, and it's so many kids to keep track of. I have to call my daughter to see if she remembers, because I know they would talk about the medications.
But when
and
you
stuff.
guys were together, you don't specifically remember her being on medication.
Not that I recall, other than like when she was sick type meds.
Right. Okay. How was your and Maddie's relationship? Was she pretty outgoing with you? Was she more
She
reserved?
was so bubbly. She was. I always describe she was a Sour Patch Kid. She was always a little sour before she was sweet, but you have to get through that little bit of sour with her, that little bit of attitude. Like every picture of her you see, like she was a little hip hop. She was just like, it's always that little she had like this face too. She could stare across her like, what are you doing? Do you have ice cream? I know you have ice cream. Like she's had this way about her that she could like pierce into you and make you question what you're doing for a second. Like, hold on, what? Oh, okay, I'll share with you, kid. You're cute, you know. And she was a brilliant kid, and she was smart in many ways, bullheaded and all the rest.
Did she?
I wish. I tried. When he first came in the picture for the first like couple years, I remember I asked her all the time, because I lived here in Florida. I was like, hey, how is he? How's Stephan? Like, is he treating you nice? Like, is he good to your mom? Like, just want to check on him. And yeah, I can go back if you need to look at any of those.
Nah, that's fine.
But yeah,
Do you know if she was pretty open with your daughter?
I feel like she was. I thought she was. I was hoping that the two of them had each other, so if anything ever happened, then they know they could talk to the other, and then somehow it would get to one of us parents so we could navigate it. Like, that was my goal, was them to be sisters, you know, to have the other person always confide in that's somewhere else. So, you know, like, hey, they're not in the same shit you're in. They can help you get out if something's wrong. And that's what I always wanted them to have. But
Now, have you asked your daughter if she's had these type of conversations with Maddie back then?
I've asked my daughter if, like, semi-pointed questions without being too direct on any of this stuff. Just like, you know, like I said before, like, did Stephan ever try and, you know, hang out with you two one-on-one? Did Maddie ever talk about him specifically? But nothing. Like, if I had gotten anything, I would have called you guys. Like, I want anybody responsible for this to have the justice served, no matter who it is. I want them to be taken care of.
How would you describe Jennifer and Maddie's relationship?
They were really close. They were really loving. Jen sometimes could be distant depending on where she was at with her mental state, but she was always there for Maddie. Sometimes she would, I don't know, check out's the right word, but she just would be an overload, and she would just ask her mom to take care of Maddie. But she really did love Maddie, and she really did care about her and Ash, and really tried to take care of them. At least I thought. I just think she's just had so many mental issues that it caused lapses that caused this. If that makes any sense.
This is a difficult question, but it has to be asked, and it's asked of other people as well. Do you think Jen had anything to do, or do you think she had knowledge of what was happening to Maddie?
I've been trying to ask myself that ever since I found out Stephan was arrested, and I thought that he was, you know, somebody that was there to protect Maddie. And honestly, I think she could have made enough, I don't say stupid decisions, but wrong decisions with timing meds and things like that this kind of stuff could have happened. But I don't think there's any way she would have deliberately known or if she had known, wouldn't have tried to get her out, of that situation. Like, she has family she can go to. She has friends like me and other places that she knows she can go to another state to escape someone. I felt like if she really felt like she was a danger, she would have gotten out.
Who do you think she would confide in?
I thought it would have been Ash. I thought it would have been Ash. I was hoping that those two would have a close-up relationship, that if something happened to one, they could tell the other. Because everybody needs someone like that.
How is your daughter taking it?
She's been broken. She's just been... It's kind of felt like the journey I've been on. It just felt like the first 5 days was just solid crying, and now it's just feeling numb. Like, there's no tears left. It's not that we're not sad. It's just feel empty.
I know when this was all first going down and Stephan got arrested, that you and Jen had conversations about
all yours.
securing an attorney for him and stuff like that.
I thought he was innocent. And I was hoping that, okay, we can get this guy cleared so we can find the right person, and that way it will help everything run smoother. So let's get all the ducks in a row. Let's get him. And I remember him on the phone. He was like, "I'm on my phone." I was like, "Don't worry about the phone. Like, they have it. It's there. So we can buy you another one. It's not a big deal. What you need to do is let them go through it, do what they need to do, so we know you're clear, and that way they could find who this really was." And that's what, because I thought that he was there to protect her too.
But he was asking for his phone. They say why?
I think he meant something like he wanted to check his packages. Like, he was always obsessed with buying shit. Always obsessed with buying shit. I didn't quite understand that. Like, it threw me off, and I should have questioned it more in that moment when he said it, but I was just in such a frazzle, just like, no, we got to find out who did this. Like, if you're not it, let's get you a lawyer so we can make sure everything is done correctly, and then they can move on to find whoever that is. And then, like, once I found it was him, it was just like, I fucking defended this guy. I thought that he was there for her. Like, I would not have tried to defend this guy if I knew in any way, shape, or form that he was in any way culpable. And I feel like an idiot.
What point did that change for you?
Which,
where you went from, hey, they might have the wrong guy, let's give him an attorney, to F this guy?
Once I found out that they found all the stuff on his phone.
Okay.
Once that came out, I'm like, what the I was surprised.
How did you hear about? Was it through the media or was it through Jen?
A combination of they both about came in at the same time. I think Jen was in question at that time. I wasn't able to talk to her for too much around then. No, I think she had messaged me before I saw it on the media that he was arrested, because she was in shock that she had seen it and was told about it.
Do you think it was genuine? Her being in shock?
I can never read somebody through text. Texts are emotionless. It's I can try and say I can read an emotion, but it's just text. I was a talker at the time, like in person. It's why I need to see people's faces. I need to hear their voice, see their pace to get a better idea. A text is just words on a page. But she just seemed in shock. And she was trying to figure out, like, what degree should this guy be punished. And I was like, do it. Like, whatever if he committed a crime and they're asking you to press the charges, do it. And yes, she had told me before I saw on the news, because she was asking me, like, yes, press the charges, do it. Like, don't question yourself right now. He committed a crime. You let them press the charges. You let the police do what they need to do. So yeah, I did find out before the news.
Did Jen ever tell you about looking for Maddie or anything like that?
I asked Monday and Tuesday numerous times, because I have family in the area and friends in the area that are all willing to come out and help search. And I kept asking. I was like, I can fly out. When can I come out? And she was saying nothing's organized yet. When I tried to talk to family members, they didn't have anything organized yet. And then eventually I saw that, I think it was Orange County, requested that nobody be searching the area, because my guess is they don't want people disturbing areas they want to investigate.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I need to wait. I can't go and help search. And that was, I remember I kept asking the first few days, like, can we come out and search? I have family members can help search. Like, is there any organized parties that are happening? And yeah, she just seemed in utter shock, and she couldn't wrap her head around it.
You seem like you lived in Kissimmee for a little bit, or Kissimmee, Orlando area for a little bit.
Yep.
Ever live in St. Cloud or anything like that?
No.
Does Jen or Stephan have any connections to St. Cloud that you know of?
Not that I know of.
I know you've been gone for a little bit, but
The only thing I know that might be down, because we were trying to look up stuff in the area when they're trying to find the bodies, we found there's a Warhammer store down there. I know he was really into Warhammer. Mm-hmm. That's in a very expensive game. So I don't know if he's familiar with that store. That's the only thing that I can think of. But I don't know personally that he went there. It was just a guess that we were trying to look to see if something was associated with them.
all right.
Did he ever disclose anything to you? Maybe not specifically about Maddie or anything, but being into certain things.
No, I was trying to think too if there's anything about sex we ever talked about or relationships or anything like that. The only thing I ever heard is from other. But that's all like secondhand. I have no validity to it. I can't validate anything. It's just secondhand something I heard. So.
And you heard this when?
Recently.
Like when this is going on, or
like
prior to?
Like when this is going on. Okay. I've heard this from people. I didn't know this beforehand. This is all, yeah.
When was the last time you talked to Jen?
Yesterday.
Yesterday?
Yeah. I think I texted her earlier today just check on her.
In what context?
Just checking on her, see how they're doing. I still feel like her family is really close to me. Like her dad, Juan, and Yolanda have done a lot for me and Ashlyn over the years, even after we split up and divorced. So, like, I'm still trying to go over and help Juan out to get his apartment settled. I'm trying to be there for Yolanda if she needs anything. I do worry about Jen and her mental health, and, you know, if she had nothing to do with this, then I would be there for her. If she has something to do with this, then take care of her. Like, do what you need to do. Like, I'm not here to defend somebody who's guilty. Anybody that hurt Maddie in any capacity, like, I want you to please do your job. Like, ask me anything you need to know. Like,
do you think Jen had anything to do with it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think she's just gone through a lot, and because of her mental health, it just caused lapses that ended up with this.
Do you think Stephan would take advantage of Jen because of her mental health? Like, was her mental health diminishing? Well, you said it was kind of diminishing when you guys were together. That's one of the reasons you possibly split. Do you think when Stephan got together with her that she continued to degress or progress with her mental health? Or
it seemed to keep degressing. And I'm not a psychologist, I don't know why that happens. You know, I try and look stuff up, but I'm an armchair expert, so you know, it seems like mental health, you know, gets worse in your 30s. Yeah, maybe it's that. Maybe it's, but I'm not a psychologist. I have no idea. I'm just a plumber who
so
loves a lot of people.
Bucks, then.
Not yet. Trying to build a company. We're almost breaking even.
How would you describe her emotions on a normal basis?
Jen or Maddie? Jen? She kind of seems a little muted most days. A lot's happened to her. A lot of things have happened to her. That's been hard that'd be hard for anybody to live with. And sometimes she gets excited about things, you know. She definitely gets sad about things. She doesn't seem as outward with her emotions. You have to, like, look at her, but you can see, like, inside, like, sometimes she's torn and she's damaged, but the medications make it so you can't see it. And like, she doesn't show it as much as, like, another person would sometimes, but, like, when you know her, you can see it inside of her. You can see how destroyed she is. You can see how anxious she is. You know, she sometimes looks calm. And it's just one of those things, like, once you know somebody for so long, like, you could tell some stuff about them. But
do you think her reactions have been genuine?
I think so. I think she's just like really medicating herself right now to get through it, and therefore she's really seeming really numb right now. But yeah, I keep seeing her break down and how sad she's been, and I feel legitimate, but I don't know if it's my own personal involvement with Maddie and my love for her that I don't think anybody else of that could have that capability of not loving Maddie. You know, maybe it's my own naivety, but my heart doesn't tell me that. But again, not a professional.
I know we touched on it a little bit, but have you known any medications that Maddie's on?
After we were talking about it, I think she was diagnosed with ADD and may have been on ADD med, but I don't know for certain.
Okay.
I can't like swear under any oath that I know she was on
Right.
any meds.
But you did say that medication that, Jen's been taking has caused her to go into a deep sleep or something like that. Or
yeah, I think sometimes I don't know exactly which meds will knock her out, but I know I've been on meds before that made me completely knock out and pass out for the night, and use the time for bedtime just to make sure after all the parenting hours are done, gotta take it then. And I don't know which one she's been on and when, but I've been on medications like that for depression before, and sometimes they just knock you out. You can't help the medication. If that's what the doctor says is going to help you. You try and work with the doctor so you can get better. And
How long are you staying down here for?
my wife and daughter are going to be flying back on Thursday. I'm going to help clear out some of the apartment on Thursday. I'll be flying on Friday. If you guys need to talk to me, have my phone number. Let me know. If there's anything you want me to ask my daughter, I really don't want her to get brought in to get questioned.
Understandable.
I don't want her to get too scarred. But if you guys have questions you would like me to ask her, and I can try to approach her in a soft way, I'd be happy to help in any way I can. I just want to make sure I'm not scarring her anymore.
Let me ask you this: does your daughter? Does she see any kind of therapist or anything like that on a regular basis?
Just before all this, we got her an occupational therapist, and we just got her started with a main therapist, with a EAP 10-session program. And so that's where we're trying to get her back on Thursday because her first appointment's on Friday. But yeah, we're trying to
Does her therapist know what's going on?
She is aware of what's going on. Social work at school is aware of what's on. And then her occupational therapist is aware, just so they all know before she steps in, everything.
Okay. Are they on board if she discloses something to them, to that law enforcement, or
Yeah, if there's something pertaining to this case that she finds out or they find out, I want them to be able to share it.
Because I know they can't share information with us because it's a patient-client.
I could talk to the therapist beforehand and ask him, hey, if you find out anything about this front, we need to contact some people so they can get the right information over. Is
that's between you and the therapist? We can't get involved in that,
right? But is that what you're asking?
If she happens to mention something during therapy and that is told to you, can you just please let me know?
Yes. Okay. Yes. If there's anything pertaining to this that will help out, I will definitely let you guys know. Again, if anybody is part of this, I want justice to be served.
All right. Anything else, do you? All right, it is 3:13. We are going to conclude this interview.